Before we get into this video, I just want to let you guys know that we have opened up a brand new channel that'll be featuring content similar to this channel. However, it'll have a focus on Nintendo Switch as well as mobile gaming. We'll leave a link to that in the description box below, so please check that out, leave us a subscribe, and check out the videos as they are coming very soon. Now, onto the video. In this video, I want to run you guys through a great PlayStation 4 free weekend that is running right now for a pretty major game that was released in 2019. That is The Division 2, and I'll be giving you guys the details on all of that. Also, for those of you that love Devil May Cry and Resident Evil and you want more entries in those franchises, well, now they are considered to be major brands for Capcom, so expect them to stick around for a very long time. Also, the horror adventure title In Close to the Sun will be hitting the PlayStation 4 at the end of this month, and I want to round out the video by taking a look at some great PS4 game deals that are available right now. So kicking things off, you can play a great PlayStation 4 game for free right now in Tom Clancy's The Division 2. All you have to do is hop on this weekend. On PlayStation 4, the servers are opening up October 17th, 8 a.m. UTC, and the server will be closing October 21st at 8 a.m. UTC. And by the way, the download is up right now, so you can download it and jump on board right now. For the PlayStation 4, you just have to head on over to the PlayStation Store and download it from there, and the full game is going to be available during the free weekend. It's not just a segmented portion of the content. The entirety of the game will be available. So that is really cool, and if you do want to end up buying the game, any progress that you've made in this or any previous free weekends will carry over if you purchase the free game. In addition, all of your progress from the first free weekend will carry over to this free weekend, so that's pretty nice. PlayStation Plus, by the way, is not required to access the free weekend. Strangely, if you're on Xbox One, Xbox Live Gold is required. I don't know why that is, but nonetheless, there you have it there. And by the way, the game itself is seeing a significant discount right now. It is 65% off with PlayStation Plus, and you can get the game for, I believe, $21. Yes, it works out to $21. So great stuff all around. I was very high on The Division 2. I think it's a great game, and it follows the formula that a lot of other Ubisoft games follow, in that the game released, it isn't at its peak and final form, so to speak, but more updates are going to be released, and free updates at that, and the game's going to get better and better. And in the case of The Division 2, unlike a lot of the other Ubisoft releases, The Division 1, Ghost Recon Wildlands, it actually launched at a great state from the get-go, at least in my personal opinion. So the game you got on day one was very good, but now it's getting better and better, and this is a game that's definitely accentuated if you do play with a couple of friends, so keep that in mind. And if you can convince a friend or two to jump on into The Division 2 with you, even better. And with you not even needing PlayStation Plus, that is an added benefit to at least try it out. Now, of course, if you want to play multiplayer, you're gonna need Plus, and I imagine the majority of you guys have PlayStation Plus anyway, so it shouldn't be all that big of a deal. In the case of The Division 2, I would say pick it up if you do end up enjoying the free weekend. Again, $21 is a great price for it, and usually we've seen with Ubisoft games, they start to peter out in terms of discounts once they hit that $20 threshold. Games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, AC Origins, and a lot of the other major Ubisoft releases, once they hit right around $20, they don't really get any cheaper. And by the way, Episode 2 and more content have been released, so there's a lot to get into with The Division 2, and a lot more content is coming to the game. Cool to see Ubisoft remaining committed to these games. I understand their methodology and how they're designing their games. Ultimately, they do want to get your revenue somehow, and with The Division 2, try out the free weekend, and if you do enjoy it, check it out, as it is seeing a significant discount. Alright, moving on from that, let's talk a little bit about Devil May Cry and Resident Evil, which are now major brands for Capcom. Capcom now considers Devil May Cry, which was once a niche series for them, as one of their major brands along with Resident Evil. Devil May Cry 5 launched earlier this year in March and quickly became one of the fastest selling games in the series. Not only did it set a new sales record, but it was also quite popular on PC and managed to match the success of Resident Evil 2's remake on Steam, which launched earlier that year in January. Capcom has now talked about both of the brands in a new corporate briefing that was published recently on the official website. It was noted, quote, "If the employee is highly capable, they may be assigned to the development of major brands such as Resident Evil or Devil May Cry in the early years of their careers. Learning and achieving results under the tutelage of a leader while taking on more responsibility over time readies that employee to eventually take on a leadership role themselves in the future." Really, the imperative there and the notion that I want you guys to take out of is major brands such as Resident Evil or Devil May Cry. They're setting those two IPs aside from anything else, and that also means that they are assigning people to the development of these brands of Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. Cry. What does that mean? Well, more Resident Evil games and more Devil May Cry games are in the works. Devil May Cry had been absent for a very long time. DMC4 released all the way back in February of 2008. Yes, we got DMC Devil May Cry, but that was kind of a little bit of an off-brand game by Ninja Theory, and that's why this year's game was called Devil May Cry 5. We had to wait literally 11 years for DMC5. Let's hope that doesn't happen again, because the time period from DMC1 to DMC2 to DMC3 to DMC4, that was relatively quick. I think Devil May Cry 1 came out in like 2002, and then the releases followed up every 2 or 3 years from then. I know these days with game expectations being a lot higher, getting a Devil May Cry title out every 2 years might be a little bit difficult, but let's see if we can get a DMC title every 3 or 4 years. That would be very much acceptable to me, and you know, I just don't want to be waiting 11 years for a Devil May Cry game like we had to wait between Devil May Cry 4 and Devil May Cry 5. There's a lot of momentum with Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry 5 was incredibly well received from a commercial and critical standpoint, but I'm very much excited for the future of the franchise, and Resident Evil as well. Resident Evil is huge right now, and they've been pretty consistent in getting games out. Resident Evil 7 came out in 2017, Resident Evil 2 Remake came out in 2019. I think there's a lot more potential in Resident Evil as an IP as well. Of course, they've remastered a lot of the older games, but let's see what they could do on that in the future. And also with Resident Evil, there's a lot of potential with spin-off titles. Resident Evil just has a very deep lore to it, and there's a lot you can do with the IP. I'm not completely against the idea of more Resident Evil remakes. And even if you want to go back and remake a game like Resident Evil 4, that does have acceptable visuals even to today's standards, as it did come out in the PS2. But hell, if you remade a Resident Evil 4 on the PlayStation 5 and it was looking like a PlayStation 5 game and whatnot, I think that would do very, very well, and I think people would be all over that. And of course, a Resident Evil 8 would be awesome as well. We want to see more Resident Evil content and newer Resident Evil content, but remakes, I think, could be huge as well. Remakes, as long as they're built from the ground up. Alright, moving on from that, I do also want to quickly notify you guys of the Tesla Punk horror adventure Close to the Sun, as it's coming to the PlayStation 4 on October 29th. This is coming from studio manager at Teacup, Roberto Sempronbe, and he had a PlayStation blog post out noting that Close to the Sun is set in an alternative reality where the inventions of Nikola Tesla changed the world forever. During development, we had a lot of chances to play with the styles and technologies, anticipating how both artistic currents and scientific innovation might have developed in our world. Tesla was a genius, and it's not hard to imagine how he could have driven humanity to new heights. The Helios and everything you'll find on board is a tribute to his personality and great mind. One of the things we had to think carefully around was how people might get about such a huge ship, a method of transportation proving necessary in terms of lore and mechanically for both the gameplay and narrative. At the very beginning, we had the idea to create a system of elevators that could move not only vertically but also horizontally, but this solution felt clumsy and lacked the grandeur we were looking for. The railway system was probably the first method of transportation ever to be electrified. This gave us the perfect tool to work with and something we could imagine within the lore of the game. It's hard to imagine a method of transportation more industrial and grand. Ever heard of a ship with an internal railway? The stations themselves appear frequently throughout Close to the Sun, so we wanted them to be as interesting and grand as possible. While they had to maintain their common style throughout the game, we enjoyed taking inspiration from real locations around the world. The apartment station has a more iconic look like Grand Central Station in New York, while the Tesla Tower Station entrance is reminiscent of a Paris metropolitan. Rose's journey through the Helios to save her sister won't be easy, and you'll need to rely on the Metro to reach different areas and experience the breathtaking environments we've created for the game. The Metro cart, like many other inventions on the Helios, can be very dangerous. Technology is morally neutral, but it can turn into a weapon even if you don't mean for it to. Sometimes our inability to use it or our neglect can make it into a deadly tool. Again, Close to the Sun will be out on October 29th. Rather interesting title, and this was released earlier this year on the Epic Games Store, so now it's making the transition to the PlayStation 4. Lastly, I do want to highlight some great PlayStation 4 game deals available right now real quickly. Marvel Spider-Man Game of the Year Edition. If you want a physical copy of that, it hasn't been going on sale all too often. This, of course, includes Spider-Man as well as a voucher code for the DLC to the game, and that is available for $34 on Amazon. Now, the negative about this is all of the content is not on disc. You just get the Marvel Spider-Man disc, and then you get a voucher code for the DLC. So if you want to trade the game in, sell it, let a friend borrow it, it does lose its value after you do redeem the voucher code, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but still, Spider-Man and all of the additional content for $34 is a really good buy. Also on sale right now, Spyro Reignited Trilogy is down to $21 and change. Great buy on Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Doesn't go on sale all too often, but I would say this is a pretty good deal. You get the 3 original Spyro games, Spyro 1, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, and Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon. I think as far as these remakes remakes go, when you compare this to Crash Insane Trilogy, I honestly think Spyro is a little bit better. I thought the remake was better done, and everything surrounding the game I just think is really good, and at this price, really great pickup. And I do lastly want to note that yes, this isn't going to be for everyone, but Anthem is down to $9.99 on Amazon. It is shocking how cheap the game is. In before the comments section say, oh, you gotta pay me to play Anthem. Whatever the case may be, it's down to $9.99. If you want to see what all the fuss is about, I'll leave a link to that in the description box as well. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, the Division 2 free-to-play weekend live right now. Check it out, jump in with a couple of friends, and you'll probably have a great time with that. Devil May Cry and Resident Evil are now considered major brands for Capcom. Close to the Sun is coming to the PlayStation 4 on October 29th, and again, great game deals on Marvel Spider-Man, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and Anthem. I know as far as Anthem goes, is it really fair to say it's a great deal? I'll leave that for you to decide. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.